This January, the residents of 70507 179th Street in the Bronx gathered in their building's basement to have their annual shareholders meeting and to also celebrate their 20th anniversary as an HDFC co-op. Ray Agosto was the board president in 2007. He leads the meeting with humor and constant translation between the mix of Spanish and English.
Thank you for coming to our meeting, to our annual elections, that is, and just a little note saying that this is our 20th anniversary, and that along with 20 years, and the ups and the downs, and the good times and the bad times, that we're pretty lucky in the sense that is when we became a co-op back in 1988, if you were to look at all the other buildings that probably entered the system of HDFCs, a lot of them are probably not in existence today for the reason that many boards didn't manage the buildings the way they should have, and apparently either they owe taxes or whatever, and the city took the building back, or whichever way they lost the building. So we should be very happy, very proud that we are here 20 years later, and you guys are here 20 years later, to be able to celebrate 20 years. 2007, we did a few things in the building that we put them under one title. We put them as success. Things that we projected on doing, and we managed to do them. Cosa que se puso el remote, but I'm going to try to...
Raymond has prepared a slideshow to recap the successes of the past year. These successful projects include the transformation of an unused alleyway beside the building into a landscaped area for relaxing or grilling. And on the roof, the board decided to create a carpeted terrace area for communal gardening, and this year for the first time they also had movie night. They were able to renovate apartment 53 and decided along the way to use some higher quality techniques and materials to increase the value in that apartment. They rearranged the office space that they share to manage the building and were able to afford some necessities and some luxuries, and they'll be prepared if it snows next year. One of the projects that the building residents and the board have decided to do is to expose the brick on each floor in the common areas. It's a lot of work, and to celebrate, they arranged a trip to Dorney Park this summer where they could all enjoy the fruits of their labor. And around Christmas time, they went to the Empire State Building where the board had a nice dinner and a night on the town. And I think you can see the Bronx from there.
Property tax y el agua y el préstamo está todo al día. Al día, está todo al día. Like I said, property tax, water and sewer, our loan, everything is up to date. We owe nothing. Okay, well, we have a couple of debts, but pretty much I have 4 people that have been here since 1961, 1963, 1978, 1977, and 1978. And they have actually seen the transformation of this building. From good to bad to good to bad to good. And they've witnessed the ups and downs, and they've actually been part of making this building what it is today. Okay? So voy a empezar con Ray. I'll be asking certain questions, so they'll answer. I'll translate at the same time. And just to get a conversation going, because that's what I would like, just a conversation. Una persona. Only one Latino living in this building when he first came here. Everybody else was either Italian, Jewish, Polish, Irish. You guys already know. Ustedes saben que esto era un apartamento acá. Esta parte was an apartment where the food is. All the way to this last room here was the basement apartment for the super. Back in those days. $50 to rent back in those days. Pretty much there was an old box made out of wood. Yeah. You pulled the cord and it would, yeah. What he's saying is pretty much that when, again, Miss Len was the landlord who lived in, apparently, this apartment, and her husband got sick and she could no longer manage the building on her own, so she sold the building to another landlord, Cisa. And apparently he worked well for about 2 years, but after that, that's when the building started going downhill quickly. Entonces, siga con la gente que se mudaron. ¿Cuántos se quedaron en el edificio? How many people actually left the building because it was that bad? 35 units, leaving only about 7, 8 families behind. And you know, and when he was just saying that the boiler was coal operated. We now have oil. So back then it was coal, and there was no money to purchase the coal. So what they did was they had to actually go outside and get wood and feed the boiler wood just to be able to heat up the apartments. I personally remember coming into this basement when I first moved into the neighborhood, and a lot of these rooms, particularly one in the back, where since they would not take the ashes outside to throw away, they would just pile the ashes. And it was to a point where the landlord had said that he was going to burn the building down. And some, like he said, he would go to work worried that by the time he comes back from work, it might not be a building. You know. But they went to court, fueron a la corte. She remembers that December 24th, 1979, when it entered the TIL program through the 7A administrator, Charles Fritz. One of the first things they did was install a new boiler. And she said it was brought in pieces, in parts. It was assembled, and right away went to work. So if you've ever been to the back room, you will see the old boiler, and then you will see the new boiler. So, so pretty much what she's saying is that even the pipes were very old to the point where either they were breaking, rusty, or they were clogged. Lots of times the water, even though it was now hot water, it wouldn't make it all the way to the top floor until they changed a lot of the pipes. Not all of them were changed, but most were changed. Yeah, when Maritza and Elizabeth and Josefa were on the board in Yolanda in '98, this building, because of our taxes and the liens that it had, would come out in the daily news in an auction. Would come out, but my understanding is that even though it wasn't listed as an being auctioned, because we were in HDFC, it was later removed from the auction list. But if it wasn't that, it would have been gone. We've had 2 fires in this building. Cuando Tita vivía arriba. So, se sabe que este edificio ha pasado por, it's gone through the ups and the downs and the ups and the downs, and we're on up. So, well, the oldest son, right, who's 26 now, was born in this building. I mean, not literally, but born in the building. But his wife came to live here when she was 10 years old. So again, there is a history. We do have generations of family who have been living here.
Thanks to the residents at 70507 179th Street for sharing their stories. We're glad that 20 years later, your building is still doing well.
Recognition. Darle las gracias a Elizabeth, a Chiquita, a Josefa, a Tony, a everybody, porque habló para que